MOHSIN guys, welcome back to another episode of the Khana Prep Podcast. My name is MASOOD. I'm joined with MOHSIN, and we've got a special guest today, the Cheshire Cat, aka Mark. How you doing, bro? You right?
Good, man. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure to be here today.
Yeah, no problem. Just a quick question. Why is your Instagram name the Cheshire Cat?
Because for me, the Cheshire Cat's quite an elusive character in Alice in Wonderland.
Okay.
And I've just lived my life just being here, there, everywhere.
Oh.
So I just thought...
I remember I saw your profile. I was like, bro, why is his name the Cheshire Cat?
I think we need to make a podcast about why that should name like a little video.
A whole video.
And plus, the Cheshire Cat's just always smiling. So I like to smile.
Fair enough. I'll notice
that.
But yeah, no, cool, bro. Obviously, you're on here today to talk about a range of topics, and you got a story behind you as well. I just want to, I think, take it from the beginning. Like, who was Mark? Like, in secondary school, primary school. Who were you? Like, how did your story begin?
Well, basically, when I was growing up, in the 90s, I was probably the only ethnic kid in my school, kid full of white kids. So to kind of stand out or not be bullied, you had to be kind of good at stuff. So I became quite competitive in certain areas, got into boxing, got into kickboxing, done that at like a competitive level, did amateur tournaments, etc. And then just kind of fell into other sports and things like that. So yeah, I've always been a very competitive person. I've just used that drive to pursue other things in my adult life.
What level did you get to in amateur boxing? What sort of boxing?
I was competing in tournaments.
Yeah.
Just getting into scraps. I think.
Couple of KOs?
Huh?
Yeah, a couple of KOs in.
I think at that age it weren't really about knocking people out. It was just surviving.
Yeah. Fair enough. Just checking.
So where are you from? You said you were ethnic. Like, what's your background?
I'm half Filipino, half English.
Okay, cool.
So
fair enough.
that's the mix.
Are you in tune with your Filipino side? Because I know a lot of people who are half and half, or even like have a certain mix. They're like more onto one side, or they lean onto one side. Is that?
I feel bad that I'm ignorant that I don't speak the language, but I love the culture. I love the people. They've got good energy, and they're just very like hospitable and nice people.
Definitely.
I've noticed that with all Filipinos.
I've actually got one of my staff, that our customer service supervisor, is actually from there, and she's brilliant, amazing, always just really happy, always just smiling, and you can change the room. And I've noticed maybe it's a Philippine thing. Do you guys all smile?
Yeah, the nickname is I forgot the nickname now. The smiling state, like just the country that smiles. Yeah,
that's amazing.
And you guys all know how to sing.
Apparently so.
They take it away, bro.
I don't know. I don't know how to sing. Karaoke is a big thing for me.
I'd be really interested to see the stats in Philippines. To see mental health versus in the Philippines.
I think any country that has some form of poverty, you have to learn to be happy in other ways. Yes. Western culture, everything's very tangible. So, we're looking for happiness through external factors rather than being around family and stuff like that. Everything's very egotistical in a way.
Same thing back home in certain parts of where we're from, Pakistan. Like, some people really have life hard. And I think sometimes you walk past them on the street and they got a smile on their face, and you're thinking like, well, I would assume why they have a smile on their face, they got to make do, like they got to make the best of their situation. If their life is really bad for them at the moment, like being unhappy is not going to make it any better, right?
No, I always believe the biggest disability in life is a bad attitude. Because if you go to places like that or the Philippines, you'll see people. No arms, no legs, but they're doing stuff. They're getting by, or they're creating stuff to make a hustle, to make some money. And you think, okay, I'm complaining about the most stupid things back home. And there's people like just trying to make a small living to just live.
I think the most important thing there is the difference between like material things will never bring you happiness.
No.
And they thrive off the fact. They thrive off family structures, you know, being around members of the family, you know, happy. I know, but back home, when we used to be there, people would just knock on your door and walk straight in.
100,
Is that the same case with you? They'll
Yeah.
knock on your door, walk straight in, and be like, mate, I haven't seen you in about 6 hours. And they will know your routine so well that they'll know that you're going to shop at this time, you're going to the mosque at this time, or you're going to prayer at this time. And if you haven't done that, they'll come knocking on your door, be like, you know, how's everything going? You do need a hand.
And another funny thing, they'll always try to offer you food, this, that, the other. Even if they don't have a lot themselves, they'll always be willing to give up whatever they have to be hospitable. And I think that's amazing. You don't really get that in kind of this culture nowadays. It's quite me orientated.
100%.
Was that that culture and that ideology like embedded in you since you were younger in the UK?
I think so. And that's why I kind of got into things like personal training and stuff like that, because I've always felt the need to kind of help people where I felt they either didn't know how to or they just didn't have the capacity to. So I think if you can, you know, help change someone's life in any shape, form, whether it's just smiling at someone or giving them an actual handout, you can it makes you feel good. Like that thing Tony Robbins always says, the secret to living is giving. And I truly believe in that. If you can just give whatever, whether it be your time, energy or some money, then people gravitate to that.
100%. And my mum, I don't know, big up to my mum referencing her in the podcast. Unfortunately, she doesn't have a logo. But my mum would always say, whenever you talk about, when people would say, you know, there's not enough space in the house, or you know, there's not enough people, if she's got guests coming on, she goes, look, it's not about the guests, it's not about the space. She goes, your heart needs to be big enough, and just it creates all the space. And then you give us stories about how back in the days, you know, when they initially came to the country, there'd be like 30 people sleeping in like a 2-bedroom house. And they would do shift work because 15 of them would be working a night shift. So then the first 15 would sleep, and then they'd be doing a day shift. So when they'd go out, the other ones would come. The night shift guys would come and go to sleep. and you think, and the thing is, they talk about those moments as like the best moments in their life. They're like, I feel like, damn, man, how come I wasn't there? But then you know that it was a hard time, it was a tough time. But they talk about it so fondly. You know, the relationships were much stronger. Things were a lot much stronger. So I think one of the key things I heard very, very recently from somebody was that the biggest thing in life that you have to value more than anything, more than money, more than fame, is relationships. A solid relationship is worth more than everything.
Definitely.
More than everything. Because what would you pay? I mean, here's a question. What would you pay to have a really good relationship with somebody? Like,
that's true.
You give everything up just to be like relationship.
Yeah,
that's true.
The charity set up. It's so sad. There's actually charity set up to talk to old people. You know. Because they have nobody to talk to.
And that's the thing. It's great that you guys are doing stuff like that, because you know. It's the most simplest thing, but yet people will either say, "Oh, I don't have the time," or "Oh, I can't be bothered." It's just these excuses, isn't it?
Yeah. But you mentioned something about obviously personal training, and we can get into the whole nitty-gritty. But I wanted to know,
Sorry,
like,
mate.
no, it's fine. But you mentioned there's something about personal training, and what I wanted to ask, like, just obviously just looking at you, first glance, is obviously you can tell, like, you know, a muscular guy. What was the story of like lifting weights or going to the gym? What was that story in your life? How was the gym? I mean, I know you mentioned that you were doing boxing and kickboxing, but what kind of stemmed that? Did something happen
to go to the gym?
To go to the gym and just really.
I was a professional rollerblader.
Okay.
And I did that for like 5 years.
Wow.
Lived in America. Had a great life from it. Had a serious injury. Broke my foot. And then needed to go to physio to kind of rebuild myself. And within that, I joined a gym. Didn't really know what I was doing, like most people when they join the gym. Fortunately enough, some guy just saw I was doing it completely wrong and said, "Hey, do you want to train with me?" And he was a bodybuilder. So I was like, sure, like free help from someone who looks amazing. Fair play, I'll take that all day. So he kept showing me. We trained together consistently for like 6 months. He showed me about nutrition, things like that.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden he's like, you know what? I reckon you should compete in a bodybuilding show. Because the rollerblading thing kind of died off for me because I kind of had so much fear of hurting myself again. I didn't have the bottle for it. So I just had to start.
Just a quick question about the rollerblading. When you went professional, I mean, I think myself and I think the same with the listeners, what do we mean by professional rollerblading?
So things like on the ramps and stuff, like doing tricks. You probably see it on the X Games, stuff like that.
How does someone get into that? Like,
it was just random, you know. I was into boxing hardcore.
Yeah.
That was kind of my life path. I wanted to just be a professional boxer and do that. And then one day, one of my friends, his cousin came from America, and he was just doing these stunts on these skates, and I was just like, I need to do that. Like, I was just so mesmerised by it because it just looked so fascinating. And
how old are you? How old were you?
I was
at
like
the time?
15.
Okay.
I was super young.
Okay.
And then I said to my parents, like, I don't want to do boxing anymore. I want to do this.
Wow.
And they were like, you're crackers.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You spent all your young life
Yeah.
preparing yourself to move to the next level, and you want to just quit. So I was just like, and I begged them. I said, look, I want to do it. I don't want to do boxing anymore. Within a year, I got scouted and got sponsored. So that was kind of the obsessive mindset I've always had. And I've just kind of focused on one thing, done that one thing, and tried to be the best at one thing, rather than trying to do a lot of little things. So yeah, that's really how that stemmed. That got me into going to the gym because I just had to do physio.
Interesting. So, I mean, I've never known. I mean, I don't think I've ever put skaters on. I feel like if I ever put a skate on, I think I'd probably injure myself quite.
I've never known that.
drastically.
I never known professional rollerblading was a thing until I read your bio. I was like, what? Professional rollerblading?
Yeah, it's like any extreme sports. There's such a niche. There's
Yeah.
like professional free runners doing parkour.
Is that more dominant? I would say in, like you said, like you were in America for 5 years. That's more dominant in the US than the
Yeah,
UK.
I think there's just certain niches where certain countries
Pick up on the moment.
develop it more.
Because I know skateboarding is quite
Skateboarding's massive, yeah.
decent here, and then it's massive in the States.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know, like personally for me, when I was like 17, 18, I got into skateboarding myself. So
Did you make it professional?
no, I didn't. No, it was just for fun. I would assume it was just for fun for
Did
you
you
as
break
well,
legs?
right? No.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
man.
And I think everything that anyone goes after should always be for fun.
Yeah.
You shouldn't really do things to try make a career out of it because you'll just be disappointed
Yeah.
if it
That's-
don't work out.
You started for fun, and then you got so good at it that how does someone come? Is it like a football scout? What is
No,
it?
you got to enter competitions.
Okay.
So for me, just doing any activity is easy enough, but to compete in something,
It's a different mindset.
exactly. And I think I've always wanted to, whether it be dieting to go for a holiday, I'm competing with myself,
Yeah.
if anything, and then we'll see the result from that point. But I'll
Yeah.
always give myself a deadline.
100%. I think when you said you have a bit of an obsessive personality, I think anybody that knows me, that's a lot like me. I had a similar story as well, but we're not here to talk about my story. We're here to talk about your story. But did you guys know there's a professional sport called professional slapping? Have you guys seen those?
Yeah, that's hardcore,
that's
man.
Have you seen that? I was like,
That's mad.
have you seen it?
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
So, some people.
Bro.
Subhan, we need to put that on the video. We have to put that in. Literally standing there and you're just slapping one.
I know, and there's proper tournaments for it.
Massive in Russia.
Exactly.
I reckon back in the days, if our parents,
Entered
did
this
find it, they would have
competition.
won that.
Yeah.
They would have won
Yeah,
that.
some of the people that get slapped, they're
Bro,
big guys. Your head
massive.
would just fall off.
That's shocking. I was like, really? That's just disrespectful.
That
I
is,
find that
that is.
really rude. Just
I'd rather get punched in the face than slapped in the face. 'Cause
Really?
That's disrespectful.
Wow.
Like my mom slapping me.
Mark's
me
like,
in the
here,
face.
wait after the podcast.
Yeah.
I'll let you wait.
No, I mean that's crazy. The fact that there's a niche for everything. Okay, so you've seen this guy from America. You've tried out rollerblading. You got scouted. You've gone to America now. I'm assuming performing like on a national level in
Yeah.
the
Is that a
US.
big change as well? England to America. How does that happen?
Well, it was really random because I ended up living with kind of like my heroes within the sport, and they just kind of showed me the way of
Oh, wow.
just being a pro.
So you left your hair on your own or with
Yeah,
your
yeah,
family?
yeah. Like, the thing was, my mum hated the fact that I chose to do this. So I said, look, when I'm 16, I'm just going to go after I do my GCSEs. I'm just going to go. And I did. And then
Yeah.
I lived there for a number of years.
So wait, at 16, you jumped on the plane
Yeah,
on your own.
on my own.
You went there onto
Yeah.
the airport, and then where did you go from the airport?
then I just lived with these pros.
But how did you get in touch with these guys? Like,
Oh no! Obviously, it was a part of the sponsorship, so it was a group.
from here, so you got sponsored from the UK?
Yeah.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
where in the UK do you get sponsored for something like this?
If you enter tournaments, there's well at the time, and this is, I don't know what it's like nowadays, but at the time, skating was a lot bigger than what it is now. I think it kind of died off a bit. So the sponsorships and things kind of died off as well.
Okay.
Because it used to be featured in the X Games, which is like an extreme Olympics.
It's like the Olympics for
extreme
anything
sports.
extreme,
Yeah, so they used to be on the X Games, but then they kind of dropped it because it wasn't as fashionable or as trendy,
Sure.
and then it started dying
That's
down.
unfortunate.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
So, so you've got a leg injury, unfortunately. I'm sure you were heartbroken at the time.
Oh, of course.
And you go to the gym for the first time. What was your physique at that time? Were you
Skinny kid.
skinny kid?
Skinny kid.
Like proper skinny, like
Yeah.
twig.
You'd have to be, I'm assuming, for skating,
Yeah.
no? Quite like...
Yeah, I think naturally I was just a skinny kid.
And you go to the gym and you're doing all your forms all over the place.
Yeah, because all you're doing is you're doing what you think you should do
Yeah.
rather than what you actually should do.
Were you going to the gym in America or the UK?
No, it's all in the UK.
Okay, the
yeah.
UK.
So
you come to the gym and then someone says, "Listen, mate, you're doing this all wrong."
yeah,
After
which was a blessing.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people nowadays won't really correct you. They'll just
They record you.
yeah,
They record you in the gym like, look at this
yeah,
idiot,
gym
bro.
fail.
That's sad, isn't it?
Yeah, man.
And that's part of the reason why people are so conscious of asking.
Yeah.
Just because they feel like somebody is just going to...
Yeah, of course.
Because I train at a gym locally, an Activate gym, and I've trained in a lot of other gyms as well, with MASOOD and other people as well, at commercial gyms, and this is a private gym. And there's a world of a difference. Because you train in a commercial gym, it's just a different type of vibe.
Yeah.
You train in a private gym, and you're doing something, and somebody comes up to you and he gives you like a crazy idea. Listen, how about you do your set like this? How about if you did a set like this, or why don't you try to do this? And funnily enough, I've been in that gym. I've been associated with that gym since I was 15.
Yeah.
I only started properly training in that gym about 2 years ago,
Yeah.
about a year and a half, 2 years ago. But you're right. When people come up to you and teach you, you feel like you're in an environment that's just that much more safer, isn't it?
Yeah, and that was the gym I joined. I joined a kind of a private bodybuilder
Building
type
of
gym.
Yes.
Where there is a community where people are all striving for the same thing. They're not just there to just turn up to say they've been to the gym. They're all pursuing some sort of, I don't know, physical change, properly anyway.
And everybody's focused, very different from a commercial gym.
Yeah, they're
so it's like,
competitive.
you go, why do you come train in Budge gym, 25 at the gym? I'm like, you go there, you don't feel like training in the same way you train in a private gym. You go to like a commercial gym and everybody's just talking, everybody's just fine, everybody's doing a set and they're taking about 35 minutes on their phone, take a couple of pictures. You talk to about 55 people on the way. You go to a private gym and they're screaming in a different way in the gym. It's just like you feel the testosterone in the gym.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone, but I think it will get you results quicker. Because if you are sort of competitive anyway, you'd want to kind of be at some sort of level or an equal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait, so I'm curious to know, because you're the skinny kid that's doing rollerblading, you've broken your leg, and you don't know anything about the gym. Why would you not go to a commercial gym? Why would you go to a specific?
It was just near
bodybuilding?
to my house.
Okay,
That was the only reason.
that's the wrong reason. Okay.
It was intimidating as hell to begin with, because you just see these massive guys lifting massive weights, and you think, I'm not in the right place.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was affordable and it was close. So yeah.
So obviously, like, we've covered a few topics. My main question was obviously like how, because obviously the guys that you trained with said that you were about to compete. How hard was it for you to get into that competition style prep? Like,
being around bodybuilders,
Yeah.
you'll start understanding kind of the mindset and culture that is needed to compete in a bodybuilding show. And I remember when the guy I was training with presented the idea to me, I just thought, nah, this looks stupid.
Yeah.
Guys in trunks, guys oiled up, this looks pretty homo.
Yeah.
So I weren't feeling that to start with. But then I saw the beauty and the art behind it, where it's not just what you see with the trunks and the oil, but there is a craft where the posing is almost like a ballet dance where you have to really showcase your muscles and things like that. Sounds super stupid when I say it out loud, but to be in shape is all good, but to be contest shape, that's a different story.
What was your mindset to get into contest shape? I'm assuming that's like a
It's
whole
to just
world.
prove people wrong.
Okay.
Because a lot of people in the gym said, "Oh, doing a bodybuilding show is so hard, you won't be able to do it." I was like, "Okay,
take a challenge.
I'll use that. I'll use that."
For me, that's the worst thing. I think the more you're talking, the more I see myself.
Yeah.
Is if somebody says to me you can't do it, I'm like, you watch.
Of course.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I want to do it.
That's the only motivation I
happen.
need.
Yeah.
Say I can't do it, and I'll go.
I sometimes hate it when people say you can't do it because I know myself. I'm like, bro, like just say it a few more times or so, I'm gonna start doing it, and I don't want to do it, but you keep on saying you can do it, bro.
But
You know what I mean?
before, because now you've mentioned a very interesting point there, and I think maybe the rest of our podcast is going to end up in this particular conversation. I think before we get into the gym competition, I think a lot of the listeners would be really interested to see and hear from you. I have a trainer that I train with. I was, I think, again, we're not talking about my story here.
Yeah.
Just to set a context. I was 30 kilos bigger from where I am today. I don't know if you've seen my pictures or something like that.
Yeah, I'm so impressed.
So I'm in a point right now where I'm trying to still trying to lose more weight, trying to get back in shape, because you can't build a huge amount of muscle when you're in a deficit for so long. But I think one of the things that I picked up from your bio in particular was the fact that, it was the natural bodybuilding element of it. That, if I'm not correct, am I correct in saying we stayed away from steroids? And that, for me, I think is a very particular discussion I want to kind of go down.
Yeah.
More about, number one, first of all, what were you taught?
Yeah.
As in, so this particular guy saw you're doing this wrong, for example.
Yeah.
When you spent those 6, 7, 8 months with him, what were you learning from him? I understand, obviously, you're learning form from him, but you couldn't be learning form for 6 months. There must be training routines. There must be, certain splits that you were doing or certain time. Where would you like to start? Let's say, somebody comes to you and say, listen, Mark, I'm training. My nutrition's, I don't know a lot about nutrition.
Yeah.
I want to train. I want to take it seriously. I'm willing to train 4 days a week in the gym, which is
Yeah.
a fair amount. For 4 days is not a small
yeah.
amount. What would you say to them?
I'd always ask them, why do you want to do this? Because I think anyone can do anything, but it's how long they're willing to do it for. So if your why is not big enough, then you won't be kind of motivated to keep continuing. Because I used to get clients that used to say, when I asked them, what do you want to do with me? What do you want to do here? And they'd say, I just want to lose weight. Anyone that says that to me, I know they're going to fail, because losing weight is not a big enough reason. It needs to be, I want to better myself. I want to look like this or whatever. It has to be such a strong reason, where rather than I just want to, wear these jeans. Because if you get to that point where you can fit into those jeans, guess what? You're going to just fall off the diet, because your gratification just got fulfilled quite quickly. So I'd always say why you want to do it and when do you want to achieve it by. Give yourself a deadline.
Wait,
Go for it. Go for it.
wait, so you're 100% natural?
Yeah.
Honestly?
Yeah.
So you competing in bodybuilding shows?
Yeah,
and you-
BNBF is a British Natural Bodybuilding Federation.
Okay.
So, yeah.
What's IBF? Just because
So you got the IFBB, which is the International Federation of Bodybuilding, which is kind of the pro stage, a non-tested organisation. And that's basically the difference,
Okay.
People each to their own.
So you compete strictly on the natural bodybuilding regime. Wow.
But it's not difficult, because if you get lean enough, your body composition will make you look bigger anyway. So you don't really need to do such crazy compounds or whatever of all like performance enhancing drugs to achieve anything.
What's your opinion on steroids?
I have no opinion. You can do whatever, so long as you stay in your lane and you don't hurt anyone doing it. Fair play, because that's your choice.
Because even steroids, from what I understand, is an art in itself. I mean, you have to cycle it in a certain way. You have to do bloods every, I think, 6 months to test your bloods, and it's not like you just...
Well, yeah, of course, and you still need to train. This is another thing. People think, if I take this, I'll get that. It don't work like that.
There's no magic pills.
All it's doing is help you recover or just enhance the process.
Why are so many bodybuilders like hush hush about it? You have so many
What's
like
that?
like you have like
Just
steroids.
using, yeah.
Like you have, for example, not to name drop, but you know,
Don't name drop.
all right, not I won't name drop, but I can't say the question without name dropping.
Right.
But
Certain influencers.
who no, not in certain influencers. Yeah, you have certain influencers that have this like Greek godlike physique, and then they and it's kind of obvious how they've gotten it,
Yeah.
but they're always like hush hush about it.
Well,
I understand they're probably tied in with contracts and sponsorships, but
I think there are some individuals out there on planet Earth that are just genetically superior than others, and that's what you've got to recognise. It's easy for anyone to say, "Oh, he's cheating, he's doing this." You don't know his lifestyle.
but then again, that's a very small percentage, though, isn't it? Though.
Of course,
Yeah.
but they're the ones that are on the platform showcasing their stuff.
They are. I mean, yeah, you're right, 100%.
Because I think if everyone was doing it, everyone would be on the same platform.
100%. I see people in the gym as well. We train people in the gym, and some people you like, as much as you want to think they're on steroids, they're not. They're natural.
Yeah.
You know they're natural.
Yeah.
So just to go back very quickly, let's say, when you mentioned, I'll ask someone to ask that question, you said you'd ask them the biggest why. Let's say somebody says, to you, look, I think what most people, and I think I speak for most people here, is that their answer question would be, well, I don't want to be massive, I don't want to be a bodybuilder, that's not my lifestyle, I want to be lean, athletic, and I'm sure if I ask Masood the same question right now, he'd probably give a similar response. I want to be lean, I want to be athletic, I want to look good, and I'm willing to put, I know I'm not going to get results in 3-4 months, I'm happy to put the work in for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and even for the rest of my life, really, because training is one of those things. It's something you're gonna have to keep consistent.
Yes.
I was off for a couple of weeks because I was away, and your muscle loses its fullness, and then you come back, and then you pump up again, and then you go back again, and you're back there again. But what would you say? So what type of training routines would you explain? What would you explain about sort of macros and
First, I would assess your body type, because I think a lot of people, there's so much information online anywhere.
Mark's like looking at me and Masood is like, okay, what body type? The laser's eyes going.
But once you understand your body type, whether you're ectomorph, mesomorph, or endomorph, then you do your program accordingly. Because some people who are so endomorphic, where they're kind of naturally stocky, the people that complain they're big boned, these kind of body shapes, you got to do a little bit more cardio based training compared to someone who's an ectomorph, naturally skinny, like runway models, basketball players, who need to eat lots of calories to build muscle. So you need to understand what body type you are first before you go on your sort of journey. Once you understand that, then you implement a plan according to it. Most people underestimate the amount of time and energy it takes to achieve anything. And most people think, oh, I'm eating enough. You're not, because you've not changed. Or you're eating too much when they say, oh, hardly anything. You're lying.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Can anyone get a six-pack?
Anyone. Yeah, we've all got muscles. So it's just hidden with a layer of fat. Just like wearing a jumper. You can't see your physique under a jumper. You take it off, you see more of it.
So if everyone put the time and effort, every single person, I mean, obviously excluding medical conditions, but they can get a six-pack, basically.
100%.
What's the time? What? I mean, like a lot of, because as Khana Prep as a business, we've explained a story in one of the previous podcasts, but one of the main things Khana Prep came out to be is when we started a diet. When I started, I was like, this food is dead out there. It's so rubbish. It's bland. I couldn't eat the food. So I was like, I need to make food. And this is when me and Masood sat down, I was like, we need to make food that actually tastes nice.
Yeah.
Because I cannot eat bland food, boiled rice. Because I understand bodybuilding, cause I see even the gym I train, I see many bodybuilders will come with a bag and it'll be boiled rice with some bland chicken. I will look at that, I am not eating cardboard. It's not, because you can't live. I appreciate that's their job.
Yeah.
I appreciate, they've got bodybuilding competitions to do. But that's not something, I don't think...
That's not sustainable.
That's not sustainable.
No.
That's not... You
I
can't
agree.
Not for everyone, though.
Not for
No,
everybody.
like, yeah.
And even for them, you see them, their mood is horrible because they're eating cardboard all day long.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's not happening. I need food that I can eat. So that's when we came up with Khana Prep. But how would you teach people about nutrition? So they've got the body type.
Yeah.
So that's off the list. Let's say whatever body type they're now, it's nutrition.
Yeah. I personally would educate myself, kind of just the basics. Learn about the glycemic index. Learn about carbohydrates, because I used to have friends saying, oh, I eat this, but then you realise it's more refined carbohydrates than it is low glycemic carbohydrates, which are slowed release.
What's the difference?
So you got high glycemic carbohydrates, which release stuff quickly.
What's an example of a high
your
glycemic?
fruits, your sugars, anything sweet.
So just so my dumb brain understands, is this the difference between when people refer to them as slow burning carbs and high burning carbs? Slow releasing carbs, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, so you got like things like rice, grains, potatoes. They typically release energy slower. So you're going to feel fuller for longer, and there's calorie dense kind of carbs compared to, eating these Nutri-Grain bars or whatever that say 90 calories. 90 calories with that bar compared to 90 calories with a salad, totally different. When people say, oh, I'm hitting these amount of calories, but I'm still not losing. What calories are you eating? And then that shows.
So explain the difference between, so that's a very good question you mentioned there.
Yeah.
Somebody who's having 1,700 calories, or let's say 2,000 calories, 2,500 calories, 3,000 calories, whatever the calories intake is. Why is that a problem versus what type of calories they're taking? Just so that, just so we can understand.
I think people want shortcuts and people don't want to put in, or no one wants to suffer basically. And eating good food or healthy food, you're suffering to some degree because it's not a pizza or a burger. You have to put time to make it, and it's kind of boring to eat. So this is why I always say to people, understand what you're eating first. Because a lot of people are going through the philosophy, if you fits your macros kind of philosophy. I need to eat 2,000 calories to hit my kind of expenditure. But they're just doing it with foods that are just convenient processed foods, or they're just doing it through protein shakes. There's no real nutritional value. And that's where people lack, is the nutrient side of eating.
But you can lose weight from eating.
Oh, 100%.
In a
You can lose. You can definitely lose weight, and I'm not discrediting that. That's definitely true. But there's losing weight, and then there's losing fat.
Yeah.
Losing weight's a number which a lot of people, they live by. They'll check the scales every single day. Oh, I've lost 2 pounds. Do you look like you've lost 2 pounds? Because how you look in the mirror compared to what that scale number on the scale says, completely different.
Very important. I think that's very important. I think you mentioned a point on the head, and I think I'd like to elaborate on that. The difference between losing fat and looking different, right?
Yeah.
It's a big difference, right? So losing the weight versus losing fat. What's the difference, and how does one do that?
Well, weight is just data, isn't it? It's a measurement. That's why people like it, because they can assess where they are.
Yeah.
I always say, if you're on a fitness journey, take pictures of yourself weekly rather than weigh yourself all the time. And if you are going to weigh yourself every day and then do it as an average. Because some people will wake up, fuck, I'm 5 pounds heavier, and then other days, wow, I've lost 4 pounds. And it's a bit like the stock market. It's volatile, so you get a bit worried. How did it change? What was the variable? But I just say relax.
But surely, if somebody lost 5 kilos, they've lost body fat with that as well. Or is that
for sure.
Or is that not true?
No, 100%.
So let's say somebody who's over a month has lost 4 kilos on average.
Yeah.
Is that assumption there that they lost some fat with that, or is it no? Is that
one, you're going to have water retention loss. I think fat is a very difficult thing to get into when you're first starting. You're definitely going to lose water weight
initially. Yeah, for sure.
But it's the consistency.
The graph more like looks like this, and then it starts to become very up and down.
That's when your body's what was called homeostasis, where it just wants to be at an even playing field. So it will adjust itself. So it's not stressed, because dieting's stressful, and your body's always trying to be in a comfort zone. So once it realizes, okay, I can live at 1,500 calories, and it will, then your weight loss might change. It's because your metabolism's shot to pieces, because you've just dieted too hard, or you're training too much. You've got to give it a rest, or you've got to increase the calories ever so slightly.
Is that why a lot of people that lose a significant amount of weight in a short space of time have extra loose skin on their body? Okay, because I know that's a big thing. I mean, on social media, we get a lot on our. Even sometimes when we post up our progress pictures from last year, people say, "Oh, but how do you deal with loose skin?" I'm like, "What do you mean loose skin?" Personally, I've never had to deal with it, but
you did it gradually, though.
Yeah,
that's the key.
I mean, me personally, I was in a small 100 200 calorie deficit because I knew like I could maintain that. And then I think when it got more like progressive, like say for example 3, 4, 5 months down the line, then I kind of increased that deficit because I was already used to the routine.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I didn't really get that like any loose skin. And people saying, how do I get rid of my loose skin? Like, that's probably why you're on like eating 200 calories a day.
No, but that's not.
And, like,
I think just to annoy MASOOD a little bit. I don't think it's always the case. I mean, if you're losing, 20, 30 kilos, it's different versus somebody who's having to lose more than that, 60 to 70 kilos or something like that. Naturally, over time, if they're going to lose that much weight, your body is going to have excessive skin.
Of course.
There's no way to. I don't think there's a way to avoid that completely.
I think a healthy weight loss is probably about £1 a week. Like any more than that, then you're going to have some sort of negative side effects. And if you do get to a weight or a size that you're happy with, you're more likely to rebound because you weren't prepared mentally.
Sure. Just to go back, sorry, you answer?
No,
just go back to the fat side because this is very interesting. I think this is the type of questions people like to hear. I think we can talk about how MASOOD looks, and for granted doesn't look all that great.
Why are you always talking about me?
Because I'm not going to say to Mark now, he's our guest.
Yeah.
So I need to pick on somebody. You can pick on me. Go on. Next comment, you can pick on me. But I think the nitty gritty and just kind of explaining those things, I think really helps people and what makes the podcast valuable. For example, stuff like the conversation. What does somebody need to do to attack fat directly? So what are the things that they should be considering? What should they be looking at?
I would say resistance, weight resistance, because the fat is an energy source which works better with short bursts, which I've found. Doing things like long runs, typically you'll burn more muscle because your body will always choose an energy source for the given task it's given. So fat is a good thing for just short bursts. So if you're in the gym doing an hour weight training, fat's going to be used for that because it's kind of a more efficient energy source, as well as glycogen.
Sure.
So that's kind of the muscle stores. So I would suggest if you're looking to burn fat and you don't have much time, HIIT training is probably a really good one.
HIIT training.
Yeah.
Okay. So just to get, from what I understand, you don't. Maybe this is the wrong question. This probably shows you my ignorance. You don't burn a lot of calories in a weight training session typically, would you?
You can do. Yeah? Depends how hard you're training. Okay. And I think that's all it boils down to is the intensity of your training session. Some people in the gym, they're on their phones, just plodding along, and then I've done my workout. And then there's others smashing it, lifting heavy, sweating profusely.
What would you say somebody who got, so first of all, what is a good time to train on the day? Would you say it's 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours?
I would say if you're training longer than an hour, then exactly. You know this. Yeah.
I knew you were going to say wasting time, so I thought I'd just put it in there for you. So that's fine. And how many exercises, let's say, how many exercises should they be doing in an hour?
It depends on what part you want to
Let's say we're doing, I think most people go for the typical push, pull, lower body split, right? So, they're doing chest and triceps and then back and biceps and legs, for example.
Yeah, so any big muscle group, maybe do 4 exercises and then sort of the secondary muscle groups, maybe 2 or 3. So biceps, they don't really need a lot, but so many people emphasize on doing like 6 sets for biceps. They're such a small muscle.
People just like doing arms, isn't it?
That's what I mean, because it's an ego. It's an ego thing. You look good when you do like upper body. No one really likes to do legs.
I always say, if you have the crappiest weight training session, bang a couple of sets of arms, your day's gonna be happy. You know what I mean?
But it's a man thing, though, isn't it? It's a man thing. Just getting that little pump, isn't it?
That's it. You feel like I failed my PR today. Let me just bang a couple sets out.
Well, Peter says to me the same thing. He's always like, when you're doing back, you're recruiting your biceps anyway, so you don't really need to do direct volume. We'll do maybe to throw in like 2-3 sets of the same exercise just to finish it off in the time. He always mentions that. So that makes sense. So you're saying, just so I think a lot of people ask these questions to us.
Yeah.
We don't have the time to respond.
Yeah.
And I think if they listen to you and so you per body type 4. So let's say it's chest and triceps, 4 exercises on chest, 2 exercises on the tricep, for example, right? So that's like 6 sets. You want to say. In terms of failure, what do we tell people? Do we say people till failure every set? Do we say 8 reps, 12 reps? Do we say work till failure on every single set?
I think it really depends on how you feel that day. If you feel you've got a little bit more energy, go hard. really go hard. And those days, you know, you think, oh, I'm not really feeling it. Just do some light work. Just get the blood moving. Because it's not all about just smashing yourself every gym sesh. But it's about consistency and knowing your body as well.
100%. Like today, I had a bad session. Today, I come back after a few weeks. I was going to do my legs today.
Yeah.
And I walked in and I straight away told my PT, I said, my legs are not in the right place today. They were wobbly. I've started playing football recently for the last after 4 years I've returned back to playing football. Not compared to just normal leisure football 5 side. And my legs were feeling really, really weak. I couldn't get past 35 minutes in the session.
Really?
Yeah. So but we planned it like that. It's not that I stopped the session. He understood what I was saying.
Yeah.
And we went into the session. You know, we did a bit of leg press. We did a bit of RDLs. I did a bit of hamstring curls. We did a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Kept it low volume. Make sure he's recruited.
Yeah.
Make sure we've done the exercise in the right form. Make sure you didn't pick up an injury. And we've kind of got 35-minute session in. It wasn't the session I wanted it to be, but the main thing was there was a session in place. And my legs have been activated. And I think a lot of people, I think this is something that you can probably, you know, advise on, the importance of consistency and commitment on the days that you don't want to train.
Yeah, I think Mike Tyson said it the best. Love the things that you hate. And that saying, just if it's something that you're trying to avoid, use that as a sign to do it. There's phone calls I don't really want to make, but I use that fear as an indicator that I should make that phone call or I should do that thing to just push me. Because if you listen to yourself enough, whether it would be to do something or not to do something, you'll always choose the easier option.
Yeah, 100%.
Always choose the easier option.
I think for me the biggest thing has been the mental battle. Like it's really like today morning, you know, for me training has become a job, right? I think after a while it does become a job, isn't it? It's like you just want to get up. Like I'm training in the morning, so I'm in the gym at 7:15 now.
Okay.
So I'm waking up at 4 o'clock to train. Now today I was thinking, I was like, you know what can I say to my friend not to go into training? Should I message my PT? I can't be bothered today. My body's hurting, my legs hurting, and my leg was actually hurting. And I was literally debating with myself. I'm like, listen, I felt like I was talking to myself. It's like, you know, guy, listen, shut up, get out of the bed, have a shower, and off you go, mate. Get out of the house.
Did you feel good once you finished your session?
100%.
And did you think,
100%.
I'm glad I went?
100%. It's one of those things that's consistent. You can tick off the day.
That after feeling, that after workout feeling is second to none.
Yeah,
100%.
I always say to people, you know, get your hardest part of your day out of the way first. So if you can and your lifestyle fits it, do the gym first. Because when you finish work, you're not going to really put a good session in because you've had a hard day. So get it in the morning and then you can just pretty much just relax at work.
I'm the opposite. I like going to gym after a hard day's work.
Really?
Because I don't know, because I feel like I've got all this stress built up throughout my day. If I go to the gym, I can release it like in an effective manner. You know what I mean? So when I'm lifting like heavy for me, I'm like, okay, that's all that stress that's coming out. Like all that anger, that aggression, like, you know what I mean? Like I just get out there. And you know when I come home after that that lift, it's like the best like feeling ever. Because then you're relaxed. Then you're properly relaxed.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you, I know we touched on it a bit, but I think it'd be, because I was always interested to know this. Is bodybuilding or can bodybuilding be a full-time job? Like,
I think it probably could, but I think it's so demanding. Bodybuilding is a 24-hour thing because you're being judged on how you look. So your body can change in like 5 minutes. So, you know, it doesn't matter how much you lift or how consistent you are being a bodybuilder. All it matters is what you look like on the day.
But how do people make money from
So it'd be sponsorship. We live in a world now you can just make money off Instagram and some other social media platforms. So it's just all about promotion.
Is that how like professional bodybuilders do it? Do say if you win a tournament, do you not get paid by the tournament?
You do if you're professional.
Okay.
If you're an amateur and you're doing a show, you're doing it for the love.
Okay.
You're doing it just to say you've done one. So.
From what I also understand, I think all bodybuilders always have a side job. They'll always be doing something.
Yeah.
So I don't think it pays.
No.
You get paid.
I mean, unless you win like the Arnold, like, you know what I mean, or like or Mr. Olympia, then it's
they're still doing some promotion.
They'll have to do something on the side. I think 100%.
I think if you're in a sport nowadays and you're a professional, you're always promoting yourself because that's what it's about, isn't it?
I've got one more question for you. Cardio. You mentioned HIIT.
Yeah.
What was your cardio routine like? Were you doing cardio? Were you not doing cardio? What type of cardio were you doing?
For me, I would dedicate 2 hours a day. It sounds super extreme, but for me that worked. And I like the cardio. You know, I'd do it first thing in the morning, last thing at night, and then just train some point in the day.
So what sort of cardio? So how much cardio were you doing? 2 hours worth of cardio a day?
Yeah, just walking.
Oh,
And people underestimate the power of just walking.
Yeah. I did a 7.5 kilometer walk this morning.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay. How long did it take you?
It took me an hour 15.
Yeah.
10,000. So I do minimum 10,000 steps a day, minimum.
Yeah.
See, it's
that's
good
the
that you
baseline.
track steps because
Yeah.
I think that's really important where people can sort of track things like that now.
It's very important. I think the steps are underrated massively. I'm hungry now. I'm starving.
I've got one more question for myself.
Yeah.
Is cheat days.
Cheat days.
What's your how often did you have them and what do you have?
I eat clean pretty much all the time. So
Even when you're not training, like
Yeah,
even when
'cause
you're not like properly.
I think I've been so disciplined, and for me, I'd rather maintain something. It's like keeping your house clean. It's a lot easier to just tidy up as you go along than letting it get messy and then doing like a massive clean at the end. 'Cause it's a bigger
I
struggle.
love the example. I love that example.
Yeah, it's just a lot easier. So for me, I'll eat clean, and my friends they always say, "Do you not get bored of eating that?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Do you not get bored of being fat and lazy?"
Yeah.
And they're like, and I'm speaking the truth because at the end of the day, you're going to complain about something, whether it be the work you have to do or kind of the food you have to eat.
Sure.
So I'd rather complain about the most simplest thing, what I'm eating, or the cardio, rather than I don't look good or I can't be bothered.
So what do you what do you typically have on the day that you just want to just eat wherever you want?
So it would be junk food,
Yeah.
100%, burgers, takeaways, just
Yeah.
the normal stuff. But I think it does make you appreciate it more if you don't have something.
100%.
Because if you have something all the time, you can't truly enjoy it.
How often would you have it? How often do you have it?
Probably once a week.
Yeah.
But I've got a sweet tooth, so
Same.
I'd smash like a chocolate gâteau.
Yeah, can you help me with that one actually? Sweet tooth. What do you do about your sweet tooth? Do you have something every day for sweet? Or?
Yeah, well, it really depends where I'm at. Like if I'm getting ready to go on holiday or something, and I get a craving, I'll just go brush my teeth.
No way.
Yeah, so that for me, if I go brush my teeth, I don't really want to eat after that.
Well, you brush your teeth just to get rid of the craving.
Yeah. So
it makes sense. Now you said that, it just clicked to me. I'm doing
so
that.
and then your teeth get super white because
And then when
you're
you try
always
to eat
brushing.
it just tastes weird after
Yeah,
that.
exactly. So I'm like, if I brush my teeth, I don't really want to eat after that. So I just drink a big pint of water, go brush my teeth, and then just hope for the best.
What are the tricks and tricks?
Wait, so when you're out and about in the high street, you're just carrying toothpaste with you?
That I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
You know what? Now I'm gonna carry that toothpaste with me.
Yeah.
Guys, what we learned from this podcast today is have toothpaste in your pocket.
Yeah, toothpaste.
Toothpaste and brush.
24/7.
Or
Go past the milkshake shop. Yeah.
Send on the website.
or just a teaspoon of peanut butter
Yeah.
and just let it rest on your mouth. Don't do too much with it. Don't just swallow it straight away. Just let that flavour, because I think ghrelin, which is the hormone for hunger, it just wants some acknowledgement that you're trying to do something for it. So if you have like a teaspoon of peanut butter or whatever you like to do.
You know what my kryptonite?
What's that?
Lotus Biscoff spread. Oh my god. Have you tried it before?
Yeah, I
Mate,
actually have.
I could smash a whole tub right now. You put that tub in front of me, I'll eat the whole
See,
thing.
that's the thing. It's
bruv.
being able to control yourself.
You know with the
Look, I'm putting it on my tongue.
Bro,
Yeah.
I'll put like a whole. You know when they say a tablespoon, I'll put like a heap tablespoon.
Yeah, that's why
So he gets a spoon, puts his hand in there.
if you buy it, you're gonna eat it.
Yeah.
So if I'm dieting at any point, I won't buy anything. I'll just buy like select foods and that's it. That's the only thing.
But the thing is, for me, like I would eat it. I won't restrict myself because how I think about losing weight or dieting, I'm like, nothing's off limits, because if I feel like something's off limits, I'm just the type of person, like, if something's not given to me, I'm just gonna do it anyways.
Yeah.
So if something's off limits for me, I'm just like, bro, why can't I eat it? If something's on, like, is on the card, then I'm like, okay, I can eat it, but I'm not gonna eat as much. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, of course.
For
and
me,
I think that's good to be consistent.
Yeah.
You need to have that kind of flexibility.
so for example, like, if I want to eat like Lotus Biscoff spread, like for example, yesterday I put it in my porridge.
Yeah.
Like I could just put a little teaspoon of it in my porridge, so I can still have that flavor.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
And it helps you mentally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I just know that I've had it. So I don't think like I think people have give the notion of when you're trying to lose weight, you gotta cut out sugar immediately. But the thing is, that's not sustainable.
No, and I think it all depends on where you currently are for your goal. Plus, how long do you want to like do it for?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I think in the early beginning, a lot of people they want the result quite quickly. So you've got to really be realistic on where you are about your goal.
Cool.
Just one more thing. Again, a lot of people do ask me all the time, and then I don't really answer the question because I don't think I'm qualified to, and I think you definitely are. So you mentioned about cardio. So when you were doing cardio morning and evening, was it you were going out for a walk outside?
Yeah.
Were you going in the gym, treadmill walking? What were you doing?
I like to do it outside because it just helps you, process your own thoughts.
Sure.
Dieting or any sort of physical journey is a mental thing.
Okay.
So it's nice to just have your own thoughts, just process them and just get rid of some stress. Because I think if you're in the gym just on a treadmill, you just feel like a bit of a robot, just on a machine, going nowhere.
Sure.
And then you come off.
And how many steps were you aiming for? Was there like a distance you were aiming for?
No, just 1 hour, however long that, how
was
many
that
calories.
1 hour just sort of like a casual walk? Was it like a fast-paced walk?
Yeah, it kind of a fast walk with an incline if I was doing it in the gym, or I would find a route where there was some hills where it was a bit of a challenge, and you'd be surprised how out of breath you get.
Yeah, 100%, especially if you're walking consistently. No, I think that's yeah. You want to say
Cool.
something?
No, I just want to wrap it up.
You want to wrap it up?
Yeah.
No, really? I think you things that are using overload. It's like we've got too many notes to make. Go back. No, I think it was. We're going to talk afterwards.
Yeah.
But it was, first of all, I have to say it's really. It's a pleasure to have you on the podcast.
No, thank you for having me.
And it's a pleasure to have a bodybuilding on the podcast. That's not intimidating. Because one thing I found, and one of the things that like I did about bodybuilding, a lot of them, and I'm not being disrespectful. Some of them I found extremely rude.
Okay.
Yeah, some of them.
I think the fact they're just on low carbs.
Yeah, I do just make them snappy, whatever it is. But sometimes I tell listen, I ain't talking to you next time.
If you're on a low carb diet.
Yeah.
I remember there was a time I'm not going to mention. A couple of years back, I was training in the gym. And there was a lot of people that were on steroids and stuff like that, and that you could see on their face and stuff like that. And then they would, all you would hear was everybody swearing. I'm like, listen, this time I've noted it. I'm not coming to the gym at this time. It's not coming.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure. Your personality is amazing.
No, thank you.
Love the smile. Never stop smiling. Yeah, it's been a great pleasure.
Cool, man. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, MASOOD.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, like, share, and comment. It's been us at Khana Prep, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
You know what? Tell them about the new menu.
Oh yeah, new menu coming out next month, April. Check it out.
What is the menu?
It's coming out soon, man.
Oh, is it top secret?
No, it's not top secret.
It's not top secret.
It's not top secret.
Okay.
It's coming on. It's
Okay.
coming. What was that?
I was going to say elaborate on it.
Yeah. The new menu's coming out. We change the menu. We try to change our menu every 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
We try to bring in new 8 to 9. It takes a while to test the meals.
Yeah.
To come up with the recipes and taste them, and then check them, and then tell MASOOD that they taste horrendous, and then they come back and we taste them again, and we go back and forth until the meals are at a certain standard.
Yeah.
So we try to change it every single month.
Okay.
So it's a lot of going back and forth. So yeah, so what's on the menu? What's some of the names on this?
We got Kung Pao chicken, bro.
Kung Pao chicken.
We got chili cheese fries. We got shawarma loaded fries. Oh my days. God. We got butter chicken with naan bread. Man.
Do you know all the macros?
Yeah. All the macros are there.
So this is like type of food that you'd eat on a casual one.
Okay.
But it's like proper macroed out. Like you got your like proper calories, high protein, like you know what I mean.
So that's what we try to do. What we try to do, we look at actual meals out there that are people that like eating,
and we just make healthier
we
versions.
look at it and be like, how can we bring this into the fat, proteins, grab and make it. For example, let's say fat loss, we'll try to keep it between 400 to 500 calories, and we will change things around and make our own rendition of that.
Okay.
If it's bulking, we'll aim for about 600, 700, 800
But we
calories.
make sure it we don't want to compromise on the flavor, because
that's what it's really about.
The thing is, like a lot of time you have diet food, like it just tastes like crap. Like you know what I mean? Just you
100%.
can tell it tastes like low
Obviously, I
sugar.
said with no disrespect, we can't offend people.
I don't know about that. Bro, you know what I mean? Some
Yeah.
some companies out here are ruthless, bro. Like they're saying like it tastes just like this, and like bro, it doesn't taste like that.
No,
you know what I mean?
I agree. I've eaten some of these.
And we're happy to take feedback. We're happy to take
meal
feedback from
preps.
people. I mean, look, sometimes we get, and we appreciate if people give us feedback on the meals, even after we've tested them 15 times, and people say, look, it's this. That makes us just want to do better. We'll go back on the drawing board,
Yeah.
and we'll be like, okay, you know what, it hasn't been received as well. What do we need to do to it? Because our main focus for the meals is the macros, but that tastes really, really nice. Those are two things they have to match, and it's hard to do.
No,
It's
I
hard to
think
do,
I think
yeah.
that is probably the
Yeah.
hardest thing to
Yeah.
achieve if you're in that kind of
Yeah.
field, because there's so much stuff out there,
Yeah.
isn't there?
Yeah.
And it's just packaged well, but it just tastes rubbish. But I'm glad that you guys.
We're gonna
have
get
found
some
it.
meals over to you. Let us know how
Yeah.
you can make a video on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Cool, man. Thanks for coming
No,
on.
thank
you,
It's
guys.
really a pleasure for having you on.
Thank you.